All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. It is our Friday, your Thursday, and it is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. That's right. My name is Dupree, and let me introduce Mr. J.R. Robinson. What's up, Jay?
Hey, top of the afternoon, Wayne. How the heck's it going?
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are broadcasting here on the Red Voice Media Network. You've been over there. You checked them out. What do you think?
Yeah, here's the thing. Couple things. One, make sure anybody tuning in, you like, comment, share the show. It helps us beat the big tech algorithm. And the second thing is we always talk about supporting companies and organizations that support your values, right? We all know we can't watch a mainstream media, whether it's Fox News or whether it's CNN. Like they just load you up with a bunch of hooey. And I got to say, Red Voice Media, they're a great thing I turn them on in the background, starting with Drew show in the morning and just let it kind of go through the day. You get interesting thinkers who break down interesting stories that you may or may not see in the mainstream media. And I'd like to see that we're included in that. And they're really doing great work. And, if you're saying like, hey, I used to throw on Fox News all day and kind of let it go in the background while I did stuff, Red Voice Media is your answer. Go over to redvoicemedia.com, use promo code Wayne to get the premium content too. There's some spicy stuff behind the paywall.
Oh yeah. You know, the one of the benefits from being on at noon is that we're always around things that are going on immediately. What's happening, and the Supreme Court just came down with a decision about affirmative action. Many people have their let's see. Many people have their let's see their how do you call it? Their definition or how they feel about it.
People feel very passionately about it.
Yeah. A lot passionately. So, it is what it is. Let me. What do you think about
What's your take on it, Wayne?
Well, I mean, my take is I've never believed really in affirmative action, even though, see what many people don't understand. I came from a line where my father was big in the civil rights movement. As a matter of fact, he was part of it. I mean, he held uh what is it meetings in his church.
Really?
With all the pastors. My mom said that there were times that the National Guard was outside of the house because she said he couldn't keep his mouth shut. So I know the equality that he was looking for and the equality that he wanted. Growing up that way and seeing what he meant, I don't think he knew that Harvard and North Carolina were going to go to the extreme. And that's basically what this case is based on, is North Carolina and Harvard. Asian Americans brought forth a case about it. And, you know, us as conservatives, we've been slamming Harvard for a long time. Like, man, y'all just let anybody get in there. Kind of, I mean, instead of the curve, they just bend. They just bend everything. So, but I do have a way about this because, again, I don't believe in affirmative action, but I also believe in fairness. You talk about fairness all the time.
Oh, right.
I do believe in fairness. And there are a lot of kids that grew up just like you.
Yep.
That have the education in high school and whatever secondary school to get into a college, but they won't be able to get into a college though. You would want it though. You want that. But did you go to college? Well, affirmative action was in place. See, no, you know what? I'm gonna say it anyway. There are kids out there that deserve a chance that don't come from uh, uh, families that are well-to-do, that have their father's name on the West Wing or the hospital wing of the university and stuff, and they won't be able to get in.
Yep.
They won't be able to get in. Now, I'm not saying use affirmative action for it, but there's got to be some sort. I tweeted before the show. I was like, okay, well, fine, get rid of affirmative action, but also get rid of legacy emissions too. Get rid of all of it. Put everything on the table.
See,
everything on the table. Well, that's me.
I have an interesting perspective on that because most people don't know the largest percentage of my ethnic background is Native American, American Indian. And my grandparents left the reservation because they felt the Native Americans were being taught to become servants of the government. They were existing on government handouts, and they were very against that. And I shared the story yesterday of when I brought home government cheese from the neighbors, and my dad's like, take that shit back. Like, we don't take handouts from the government. We gave to our church. We supported local charities. We shopped at the Goodwill, but my parents wouldn't do that. And so I actually had enough Native American blood in me to qualify for Native American stuff when I applied for college, but I applied as a Caucasian, and I got through on my merits. My dad taught me to work hard, go to school. I went to a small farm school, man. It was not a huge school. And I actually had high enough test scores to get into any college I wanted. And I actually went to a local community college for my 2-year degree because that was what I could afford, and without going in debt. Because if you identified as white, you didn't qualify for anything back in, even in the early 90s when I was going to college. So for me, it was, I would joke, like, we need the United White Guy College Fund, because if you're a poor white dude, you have nothing. And I think if we looked at affirmative action instead of race-based, but socioeconomic based, I think you could have something there. I think you could say, hey, if you're going to look at family income, if you're going to look at where you grew up, was it a economically depressed area, and that became the criteria instead of race, I think you could build something off that. But inherently, if you're going to build any policy that's going to be functional around race, it's just going to fail eventually.
Yeah, it's a bad thing, and that's why I don't believe in affirmative action, because people will always be like, did you get in because they let you in, or did you get in on your skin color? And if you're a proud person, you know how we talk about food stamps,
right?
And I've been on it. Well, my mom, we were on it growing up, but we weren't on it long. But I didn't feel the effects of being embarrassed about it. Well, actually, no, I did.
But I guess your parents went on food stamps with this is going to help us bridge the gap to get off of food stamps.
Yeah, well, yeah, sort of. Yes. No. You're right. Even though she didn't want to be on it, but yeah, she, it's just one of those pride things, though. It's like, man, we shouldn't be on this thing. This is not for me. This is for people that really need it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, again, the way that I look at this decision, I understand it. It basically goes with how I think, but I just think about those that are going to be left out, because, Jay, just because they rule this, there's going to be some colleges that don't give a damn.
Oh, right.
They're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, they're just going to apply those principles different ways. And you see it even in law school. Like, a lot of I forget the stat, but it was like 6 of the top 10 law schools in America were doing away with some of the standardized testing to allow people in law school because they were afraid that the standardized testing was racist. And it's like, boy, what's your gatekeeper to get people in law school? Like if it's not a standardized test like the LSAT or something, like I don't know like what you're using as a gatekeeper. So
well, yeah. The LSAT. Did you hear that they were creating another, like, you have what's your test to get into college?
there's the SAT and then the PSAT.
SAT. Weren't they going to create another one?
Yeah.
I heard.
Yeah, they were. A lot of these standardized tests, it's really pretty sad because the standardized tests, people perform differently based on racial outlines, but it's also correlates directly with how crappy their schools are. So if you have a large population of African American communities with really bad public schools, they perform less effectively on those tests. So people, instead of people drawing the conclusion that like, let's fix these schools so the urban communities get better teaching, they say, well, let's throw out the tests, which doesn't solve the problem. Hey, we got Jim on today.
Yeah, we're gonna come back and talk about this a little bit later. Because but it is one of those things. Mr. Jim Parkman, what's up, buddy? What's going on?
We're missing somebody.
No, you
with us.
No, you there. You right in the middle.
No, I know, but usually I'm at the bottom. We got the top three at the top, and we're missing. I hope he's okay. All right.
Yeah.
Vacation.
Hutch is building the compound, so if we need to flee from the government, we have the place to go with the solar panels, and just think Ruby Ridge. It'll be fine.
For me, okay?
Hey, Jim, ladies and gentlemen, we have Jim Park. This is our in-house legal counsel. He knows us. He has a great idea. He has over 40 years, man, of legal expertise. And you know what, too? One thing I like about Jim, well, there's a lot of things I like about him. Yeah. One of the main things I like about him is that he doesn't hold no punches. He ain't gonna lie to you just to make you feel good.
No.
He's gonna tell you how it is, because that's Jim. That's the only way that you can learn and be informed about what's going on. You have to know what you have in front of you to make an informed decision. Am I right?
That is correct. You have to have all the facts. You can't just take part of them or rumors or whatever. You've got to get into, in a case, you've got to get in and look at everything. Uncover pull up every stone, look under there, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. That's the way life is. You don't know what's going to happen in the future to anybody. But you don't know in court what's going to be important or what you think you do, and you try to center on that. But sometimes little things come up that make a world of difference, and you've got to be ready for that.
It's interesting for those who don't follow Jim, which, go on Netflix, like he's got some great cases. The thing I really love is that not only do you blend in here's the legal analysis, but you talk about how public perception and how it impacts the jury, because I think you'll find in some of this stuff that, like when we talk about the Jack Smith case, a lot of that, like their legal standing seems to be getting shakier by the day, but their public opinion seems to be getting stronger by the day.
The sad thing about law, y'all were talking about law school and all the tests, when Abraham Lincoln and I went to law school together, we didn't have to take all those tests. By the way, did graduate with more honors than I did. But
all right, man.
I
didn't expect that, Jim. I didn't expect. Sorry about that.
Key to it in law school is they don't give you classes, for example, like how to handle publicity.
Right.
There are no classes on that. They don't come in and say, now here's the best way to do it. Here's here's what you need to look at. They don't do all that stuff. And so a lot of what you're getting, in life is just from experience and getting out there and learning from other people. I think in every case, if it's a big case, we hire people to handle public relations, and, they run by everything, and we decide what we want to say and what we don't, and how we want to handle it. But those are things that you're just not taught. And
yeah, they the affirmative action thing came down today. You know what? Honestly, I really didn't know. I really didn't. But before I asked for you to join, I wanted to talk about the Jack Smith situation stuff. I didn't know that this was going to come down about the affirmative action thing. What's your take now?
Well,
you're in Southern,
so I've expected it, but I haven't seen what the Supreme Court ruled on. If it's the Supreme Court doing it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, they ruled 6-3 to throw out affirmative action in entrance when you apply, like you can't get points based on race, basically.
Yeah, that's been anticipated. I haven't seen the ruling, but it doesn't shock me. There's no shock here. I think everybody believed that that's what they were going to do with it. Now, whether it's a good thing or not, I don't know the answer to that one. I just don't know. I do think that we've moved farther along in our society, especially in schools and people getting in school and how and stuff like that. I think colleges and universities have set up protocols of what it takes to get in. I think they have to, start with what you do, as you mentioned a minute ago, the ACT and the other, standardized tests that you take and how you did in school. What did you do? Did you play sports? Did you have activities? What kind of person are you? Have you had any problems with the law and all that? So I think there's a lot out there that they can rest on now. If it came down to two people being equal, I would just have to hope that the school could come up with and make sure that race doesn't enter into it. I mean, that's my hope. I think everybody ought to have the equal opportunity to go to college, go to university, go to law school, medical school, whatever. So I hope we're far enough along in our country that these universities recognize that. I'd like to hear your take on it. I mean, I really would.
Well, the thing is, and I think me and Jay both agree, we should be more far along.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you look at the situation between the 60s and 2023, we are not in the 60s.
No, we're not.
However, we have people that were that were teenagers and in college in the 60s. We have them in Congress, and they don't know how to get out of the way of racism, weaponizing racism.
Yeah.
To a point. So, I feel bad. Like I told Jay earlier, I feel bad because I do believe that there are some unfortunate young people that are smart out there that, okay, you know what? I even go to myself. The teachers told my mom and dad that we had 3 levels of class in our middle school. As a matter of fact, we had the slow, we had the medium, and then we had the real smart high.
Yeah.
Most of everybody was in the medium. Okay. Teachers told my mom that I should have been in the high class. The only problem is that I wouldn't hang around with the crazy clown kids. I did.
Being self-selected in the low class.
That would be. I was in that class, and
I had to be funny. I had to try to make people laugh instead of So, but situation came down to when I went to high school, I wasn't part of the higher class. I still stayed in the middle. So when colleges came around, I didn't have the money. I couldn't get it. I mean, and my grades were in the middle to the lower. So it's like, okay, well, they looked at those transcripts and
yeah.
I went to the military. Okay. So there are going to be some people that are going to be affected negatively by this, right? No?
Well, I hope not, but I came through the 60s in school. I came through segregation. Uh, I've come and seen a long way that a lot of stuff has happened over these last 50, 60 years for me. And I've seen things get better. I see, diversity in college. When I go over to the University of Alabama, I see a lot of diversity. I see a lot of people that are out of state students now. Alabama has 50% of the students from out of state. So it's not just picking that. It's now we're seeing an influx of students all over the country coming to these universities. Somebody told me, right or wrong, Georgia has a lot of Asian people now are applying and getting in to Georgia. And so, I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but they seem to know what they were talking about. So that tells me that there is something going on, that they've settled down and quit doing this on the basis of are you an African American or are you not? So I hope. I understand the concern of people, but my hope is that we're through with that with universities, that we're smarter in our universities now than we were back in the 60s and 70s. And that we now recognize, let's get the students in there that you need. I was in that middle ground, Wayne. My belief is my name never got put on the board for being in honor class. Okay. But, I hope too that people realize that sometimes the middle ground people can turn out to be maybe above the middle ground.
Right.
And sometimes you have to look at different things to make that decision. So I'm just hoping now that, we knew it was coming. I knew this ruling was coming. And I just hope now that, universities stay with the practice they've been going with, have the criteria that they look at, and pick the right student that they need.
Hey, Jim, before we get too far and run out of time, I got to shift gears to the big Jack Smith bombshell this week. So when the indictment was released, they were talking about the Iran plan that Trump showed this author. Yeah. And then they leaked the audio of him talking about this plan with the author. And now it's become evident that Jack Smith doesn't have a copy of that plan. Does that dramatically change what he can do from a holding Trump legally accountable? Like, if they can't produce the document, like, is that kind of a moot point?
Sure. And what's puzzling to me is, I've always believed if you're going to go out and say something, okay, you better be able to back up what you're going to say. Okay. Not just from word of mouth, but you better be able to back it up. And that goes for defense. That goes for prosecution. That goes for anybody in the world. If you think about it, if you're going to run your mouth, then make sure you got the stuff and the evidence to corroborate what you're talking about. And now you're right. Now they come up and say, well, we don't have it. Well, what are you going to do? I mean, come on. That's kind of wow. That kind of stunned me. It stunned me when it came out about there's this tape and there's this document and he showed it and everybody saw it and he's passing along confidential information, and then all of a sudden nobody seems to have anything. Wow. Wow. This Trump stuff is intriguing to me very much, because sooner or later they're going to have to talk about the facts of the case.
Yeah.
They can't keep talking about it's political and
yep.
And that you got to focus on the facts at some point. And this is a good starting point.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that why they delayed the trial? Because the judge said like mid-late August, and now the prosecution's like push it back till December.
Yeah.
And Jim, I also have a theory about that. Because Hutch was talking about they're trying to insert J6 into this at the same time. And I brought up to the boys yesterday or day before yesterday, I think that's the reason why they push back, because they want to add this to it.
I hadn't thought about that. That may be a problem. And it may be too, it may be that because of this coming out, they don't have the information that they need. Yeah, they're pushing it back, maybe. I would say if I was Trump, if I found out that they don't have the evidence, boy, I'd be pushing like heck to get it in trial.
Can we start next week?
Yeah.
Go find something that you don't have. You came out and said, "Hey, we got it. Here's what we got." Then, bam, let's go. Giddy up and let's get this over with. But that may be, both reasons may be a good reason. But obviously, if the prosecution's pushing for it, they've got some concern somewhere. That's a problem.
Especially when he came out and said that he wanted a speedy trial, and then all of a sudden he wanted to push it back, right?
Yeah. To me, if a prosecutor indicts you, they should be ready for trial.
Ready to go. Right.
Not looking for more stuff, not looking to prepare. You ought to be prepared.
Got it.
You ought to be ready to ride.
Mr. JP, Mr. Jim Parkman, here on the Wayne Dupree broadcast. Look, I'm gonna talk to you about some more next week. Want to break that every other week and bring you in next week, because this Jack Smith thing every day. It's like every day something is. And look, why in the hell CNN keep getting the audio tapes? Why not anybody else? Just CNN.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's weird, but yeah.
Isn't that amazing? How one group gets something and nobody else knows what in the world's going on. Except Wayne Dupree and the brother.
That's right.
They know
we dig into this stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Parkman here on the Wayne Dupree podcast, along with Jason Robinson. We're getting ready to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have our sister Nicole Sy. We'll be right back, y'all.
Biden and his cronies have lost over $3 trillion of America's retirement savings in 2022 alone. With inflation running rampant and the stock market crashing, do you have a plan to protect your wealth? Our friends at American Alternative Assets help you protect your retirement savings by rolling over your IRA or 401k into a gold IRA. Fact is, you can hold physical gold and silver in your retirement account while maintaining its tax-deferred status. Visit protectfrombiden.com today to get your free wealth protection guide. This guide will give you all the answers you need. American Alternative Assets is an A+ and accredited member of the Better Business Bureau. Protect your savings now before it's too late. Visit protectfrombiden.com. Individual results may vary. There is no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future results. It's a crazy world out there, and we're facing more uncertainty than our country has faced in a long time, if ever. And the most important advice that we can give you and your loved ones is be prepared. Most people don't realize they need something until it's too late, whether it's a natural disaster, a sustained power outage, political upheaval, or God forbid, war. You need to be prepared. Don't put yourself in that situation. Have food and water on hand to provide for you and your loved ones during the worst of times, and then pray you never need it. Thankfully, we have just the solution for you. Heaven's Harvest has everything you need to prepare for the unexpected. You get prepared, and you support a pro-America Christian company that shares your values at the same time. Everyone wins, and the best news is you also get discounts on emergency survival foods, heirloom vegetable seed kits, water filtration and storage kits, and loads of other survival resources, such as guides on how to grow and preserve your foods. So get ahead, be prepared, and survive with a company that shares your values. And we have you covered with great discounts. Go to heavensharvest.com and use promo code RVM to save 10%. Again, that's heavensharvest.com and use promo code RVM to save 10% on your order.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and yep, that looks better. I've been working on the bottom thing for the whole time while we're doing the show. I'm a stickler for graphics, and it's like we started out with this, then we started out with this, and then we finished with this, and that's all. And that's all during the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Most people don't know that Wayne Dupree is a graphics guy.
That's right. 15, 16 years, government contractor. And I just got tired of them saying, we got to let you go because of overhead and cuts and stuff. I cried on my way home.
Oh, hang on one sec. I just had some. Hang on. I gotta hop off if you want to bring Nicole on.
Okay. Let me get this off. Ladies and gentlemen, that's right. I'm gonna bring out my sister. That's just me and you, darling. Me and you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad to have you here and the new Federation State of China and everything that y'all are doing. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, Nicole jumps on our podcast every week because she updates us about what's going on with the freedom fighters. Freedom fighters, yeah, that's good one. Of the freedom fighters of the new federal state of China. They are trying, well, actually, real quick, tell our audience about the new federal state of China for our new, you know what? Okay, let me get over here. And like I said, I have been working on there. Okay, back. Okay, tell our audience real quick about what the new federal state of China is all about, real quick.
Absolutely. Good morning. Hi, Jason. Where's our friend Hutch?
Oh, well, yeah. He's on assignment today. Yeah, he's on assignment. He's taking care of some papers. The papers. So.
Okay, good. Well, for all of your new listeners and viewers, I know Wayne Dupree podcast has been increasing your span. And so for your new followers, NFSC is the world's biggest movement to overthrow the party of Xi Jinping, the Chinese Communist Party in China. Why, we're coming to the American talk shows and podcasts to talk about our movement, because we have the same enemy. The CCP has become America's biggest and most dangerous threat to your national security and to your American way of life. And the reason why we're working with American patriots, because we're also being targeted by the weaponized DOJ and FBI, who try to cover up the CCP's collusion with some of the most powerful people inside the U.S. government, agencies, and even in the White House. And so our movement is apolitical, and because we're only attacking the Chinese Communist Party. And so within the United States of America, we have millions of Chinese American patriots. And within China, we also have hundreds of millions of followers. And some of them are actually working inside the inner circle of the CCP government of influence and power. People are, who are working inside the Chinese government, even in the military. Actually, they're the most valuable asset to America. In fact, some of the CIA assets are also our Chinese whistleblowers within the CCP government. And so that's why we're able to always give the most exclusive and bombshell report about the collusion between the CCP and American sellout. Because, if you look at the slow walking investigation into the Biden crime family's business dealing with the CCP, we're looking at WhatsApp messages from 7 years ago, from 10 years ago, when Joe Biden was the vice president. But actually, the CCP's infiltration in the White House and in the U.S. Political field has been going on for decades. And most of these things happen in China. That's why it's so hard for the lawmakers in this country to retrieve the evidences, and that's why they work so hard to suppress the laptop from the hell. But you know what? The quickest way to expose all of these crimes is to bring Mao Guo to a congressional hearing, because most of the secret meetings that took place between the high-level U.S. government officials and the CCP party leadership happened inside the Pangu Hotel, which was built by Mao Guo. It's the most luxurious 7-star hotel that Mao Guo founded, and a lot of the secret meetings took place inside the hotel. And so that's why we always urge the James Jim Jordan and James Comer, the House Oversight and the House Judiciary Committee, to bring Mao Guo out of the jail and let him testify before the Congress. That will save the slow walking investigation that has been stonewalled by the FBI, because the longer this investigation drags, the more America suffers to the threat of the CCP.
Hunter Biden,
I was going to say, Nicole, you touched on a really powerful point there. So for years, we heard about the Hunter Biden laptop, and you heard about the laptop from hell. You heard about, drugs and prostitutes, and you heard about Burisma and Ukraine. And now when this WhatsApp message came out just this last week, that was the first time I think that the Communist Party of China rose to the top, where it's like, this is big. So can you kind of explain to the audience who might not have seen the message or heard what it was, like, what's the significance of what came out in the last week or so with this WhatsApp message?
Absolutely. So the IRS whistleblower, he reviewed a WhatsApp message between Hunter Biden and a CCP top official, Henry Zhao. His Chinese name is Zhao Xuejun. He was the chairman and CEO of the Harvest Fund management company, which is a $230 billion US asset management company. So Hunter Biden was, demanding him to make payment. Really, was like a mafia demanding him to make the payment.
Right.
Yeah, and another WhatsApp message that surfaced throughout investigation is Hunter Biden's, demanding Dong Gongwen, Patrick Dong, who is, the chief financial officer to the CEFC China Energy Company, which is chaired by Ye Jianming, who is a CCP top, intel government official. And so he was asking for a $10 million payout. So, all these conversations took place either in 2013 or 2017. That was from years ago.
Right.
But we know the CCP never stopped for a second, colluding and corrupting the US government officials. So what else that have not been discovered? And what are other big deals that has been cut under the table between the Biden crime family and the CCP? I think it will take years and years of American taxpayer dollars money to do the investigation. So the quickest way and the most cost-effective way is to bring Mao Guo to Congress and let him name the names, because we are the Chinese whistleblowers. We have the receipts.
Yep.
We can provide the receipts from within China. And so you don't have to fight the resistance from the DOJ, from FBI, who have been, trying to cover those evidences. Remember, the 17 audio recordings that has been held, that has been provided to the FBI, the FD 1023, and 2 of the audio recordings had Joe Biden inside that conversation talking about, a business deal with a foreign national. And remember, the Chinese whistleblower movement, we can provide a lot of recordings. We can bring receipts that are not even available in that laptop from hell. So free Mao Guo and let us take back America by fighting the CCP's infiltration and weaponization of the DOJ right here and right now.
Paulo, there was a report that Paulo was under the CCP pressure to switch recognition from Taiwan to China. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Palau. I'm not sure.
Palau.
Yeah. So there was a report, a Sunday Guardian, saying that he was under CCP pressure to switch recognition from Taiwan to China. Have you heard anything about that?
Well, we know that CCP has always considered Taiwan, a huge threat because Taiwan represents a free democratic society governed by the rule of law, and so the CCP has spared no effort infiltrating in Taiwan's mainstream media, government, and also military and intel. And according to Moscow's whistleblowing, the CCP has already deeply penetrated the Taiwanese government and military. So there's also a big number of sellout within Taiwan, just like the sellout in this country. And why they're selling out the national interest, because they got the personal LLC to be funded by the CCP. And and this is why we have so many our whistleblowers and followers of the NFSC in Taiwan, and they're constantly educating the Taiwanese public about CCP's infiltration, and they're also exposing the sellout within the Taiwanese government. And just like the Unity Party in this country, they have been selling out this country likewise. CCP's infiltration and corruption on the government officials, has spread all over the world, not just in the US, but also in Taiwan.
It's interesting you say that, Nicole, because for those who haven't seen Nicole on the show before, we delineate between China and the CCP. The people of China, we have tons of people that watch us in China. Hello to our friends and family over in China. Most of them are God-fearing, freedom-loving people, but it's the corrupt Chinese Communist Party that are the ones that are infiltrating different things. But you were bringing up Miles Go testifying in Congress. Just to be blunt, do you think that's going to happen? Personally, I think that the CCP has enough politicians and powerful positions on both sides of the aisle that I think without a groundswell of movement from regular citizens, that won't happen. Like, there's a bunch of Republicans and Democrats who are in China's pocket that aren't going to support that. But do you think we can make it happen? Do you think we can get Miles at a House Judiciary Committee or something like that?
Yes, I do, because I believe the real power is not in the Capitol Hill. The real power of this country is in we the people. And so for so many years, the Washington's political establishment tried to dominate the power. Actually, they take away the power from we the people. And now we need to take our power back, because this country is supposed to be the government by the people, of the people, and for the people. But over the years, people in this country, we have lost our citizenship. We act like the subjects, not a citizen. So I never place any hope on the government officials to make the historical change. I believe that it's we the people who can drive the positive change inside the Capitol Hill. And that's why we need to elect the outsiders into Washington's permanent political establishment. And outsiders, people like President Trump,
Right.
people who have never been profiting from being a politician. These people, they go to the political field for one purpose, that is, for the love of the country. It's the love, it's out of love for this country, not for personal gains, because Trump had already got everything. He has $1 billion lifestyle like Miles Go. Miles Go did not have to fight this fight. He was a very successful business entrepreneur. He was a great, businessman. He enjoyed great life. He gave up everything to fight for this, and so I think it's this country, we the people, who will be ultimately making the changes. And we need to hold the congressmen and senators accountable for doing their job, because I think that already the House Oversight Committee and House Judicial Committee is doing a solid job. But it's far from enough. They're only looking at what happened from 7 years ago, from 10 years ago. And what about right now? I mean, but you know what? They're on the right track, but we need them to do more and do faster, because every day when CCP is still inside the gate, the American people suffers. We already lost over 1 million American people's life, and this is in addition to how many, the hundreds of thousands of American people have been killed by the fentanyl epidemic caused by the CCP. So this is the reason why that we asked the Congress to bring Moscow out of the federal prison and let him testify, and that can save American people tons of money and time.
You know what? You brought up fentanyl. I saw the other day that the United States was bringing charges against a couple of the CCP companies for fentanyl manufacturing and stuff. You think that's just for show, or do you think that that's going to go anywhere?
Well, the DOJ announced the indictment against 4 CCP companies based in China for selling chemical precursor to Mexican cartels for trafficking of the fentanyl to the U.S. But remember, you were only charging 4 companies inside China. I mean, they will, CCP can make like a reproduction of hundreds or even thousands of such companies, like a rat. So the root of the problem is not to charge the companies inside China, or not even the CCP officials inside China, is to close your own borders, secure your own borders.
Right.
Otherwise, this is just a political show. Because you're not going to do anything about those companies inside China. They can simply change the ownership or start up another company. I mean, what's the use? I mean, it's a useless indictment. It's just for a political show. I mean, the real problem is the open border failed policy. We need to secure the border and stop the CCP's infiltration. And most importantly, why they're doing the show? They're trying to cover up the real criminals inside the DOJ and the FBI. These are the people who have been suppressing the evidences, the damning evidences against the treason, against the Biden crime families, crime against the United States of America.
It's funny because when you talk about the businesses, like I kind of chuckled when I saw that. I'm like, this is going to make great headlines, but nothing's going to happen because literally in the Chinese Communist Party, they'll lock the doors in the factory for a week. They'll put a new name on the front of the building. And then next week, same people showing up for work, making the same garbage that they're sending over to America. But you also touched on an interesting thing earlier, which came out last week about COVID. And it looks like now that the overriding consensus of the government agencies are that it came out of a lab in Wuhan, which I think everybody who looked at it could go, okay, yeah, it's much more likely that's where it came from, the bio lab instead of a wet market. But I saw this week that the World Economic Forum was shouting out what a great job that Communist China did controlling that. And that's the first time I kind of saw the World Economic Forum kind of siding with the CCP. Is there something there to that relationship, or do they have mutual interests, or how does World Economic Forum kind of match up with the CCP?
Well, Mao Guo, our leader and founder of the NFSC, he already told us repeatedly that the World Economic Forum is an international form of the CCP. So basically, it's the CCP on a global scale. I mean, they're in the same bed. And that's why in every World Economic Forum, you get to see Jack Ma and Xi Jinping and CCP kleptocrats. You never see the Chinese whistleblowers because, hey, they are the enemy of the Chinese people. And, the World Economic Forum, their whole purpose is to bring CCP's tyranny and suppression from China to the international market. And so we strongly oppose the agenda of the World Economic Forum. And you know what? They're going to take, they were having a World Economic Forum in China years ago. And so that tells you that when a international organization have their meeting inside China, that should tell you what kind of relationship. Yes, exactly.
Right.
And I don't know how great this is, but you remember I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, it seems like the emperor title is being placed on Xi, Papa Xi, whatever you want to call him. and because everybody is flying there like as if he was the man that you go and bring all frankincense and myrrh and all kinds of blessings to like a old Egyptian king or whatnot. But still, like everybody is flying to China to shake his hand and develop a relationship with him. We see now Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel, is flying over there too. I'm like, man, this is just you. I don't want to say people are ignorant or stupid, but
Both.
I don't know if they really understand the weight of their actions long term for a short term association acceptance. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they're not being stupid. They're not being naive. There's just greed. They want money. They're there for money. And there's no morality, there's no principle, there's no US citizenship. It's all about money. And that's why you're seeing people like the Wall Street CEOs, Elon Musk and Jamie Dimon, and the CEO of the General Motors and Pfizer, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley. They were flocking to Beijing, kowtowing to Papa Xi and promising more investment in China. It's all about money. And so I mean, these people, when they shift American blue collars job to the CCP's concentration camp or using the forced labor, this is a crime against humanity, and we need to hold them accountable. And you know what? In last Sunday's, Fox News, the House chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee, Michael McCall, he told Maria that the Biden administration made a big concession to the CCP in order to just have Blinken to get into the door, and that is to give up the sanction on Huawei and ZTE. And now we hear from Mike Gallagher, chairman of the House subcommittee on the CCP, that the technology supplied by Huawei and ZTE are being used by the CCP's military operation in Cuba, targeting America's military installations. Think about that. And that's how you get meeting. That's how Blinken got a meeting with Xi Jinping. And that's why he came out of the meeting and said U.S. is not going to support the independence of Taiwan. But, I think the Taiwanese people find encouragement days later when a bipartisan House leadership made a visit to Taiwan and promising to the Taiwanese people that the U.S. will stand with Taiwan against the CCP's aggression.
Nicole, we love having you on the show, and it's really been an honor. And
Always.
And for us and hopefully the viewers, we get a ton of positive chats on the different platforms. And we love you bring receipts and bring knowledge and information to people.
You're good about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? Let me break into some of our people that watch. They just love just how truthful and how informative that you are. And I don't think, honestly, you passed the test a long time ago. But if you wouldn't like if you would have been some like your American counterparts, they come up to us all the time. We got this, we got that, and they ain't got nothing.
Yeah. Can we see the receipt? And they're like, well, no, just trust me.
Yeah, we but you passed the test a long time ago, and I'm serious. I mean, it's like I look forward to having y'all on each time, because you just wake us up to a whole lot of stuff that we were asleep.
Well, I'm definitely not Adam Schiff, okay? And
that's the truth.
I don't accuse people of Russian disinformation. I mean, we are Chinese whistleblowers, and we have been proven ourselves time and time again. We have the videos, and we have the screenshot, and we have receipts, because we don't believe in conspiracy theory, and we believe the American people deserve to learn the truth. And that's why our whistleblowers inside China, they took great risk to their self to tip us off with, with exclusive bombshell information to inform the American people. But unfortunately, we found that, this country's federal government agencies were doing nothing about the valuable information. That's why we chose to come on the public square to talk to American people directly through the podcast like Wayne Dupree show. And because we want to have a great and direct communication with the American people here to bypass all the big tech, mainstream media, and the FBI and DOJ, because they were doing nothing. And we believe we, the people, once we are becoming more educated about the CCP threat and infiltration, we can become more actively engaged in the politics. By engaging ourselves in the politics is to hold our congressmen and senators accountable. Bring the receipts to them. Send the video clip to them and ask them, what are you going to do with it? And we will tell them, if you sitting on it, doing nothing or slow walking, you're not going to be sitting here in your next term.
Nicole, you bring up a lot of great stuff. So as a country, we're heading into 4th of July weekend and then 4th of July next week. Is there anything you can tell our listeners and viewers to kind of keep an eye out for next week? Anything you see bubbling up, or what should we keep our eyes out for?
Well, we are going to provide you with more receipts and from Mouse Squad's live broadcast with timestamp, because, these videotapes have memories. Nobody can make it up,
Right.
And so that's why we have been constantly proving ourselves time and time again, and we will continue to expose the CCP's collusion with the most powerful people in this country. And that's our everyday job, because American people did not know this, and your federal government agencies are blocking the American people from learning this truth. And we're going to break that blockage, and we believe it's we, the people, who will be able to make the ultimate change.
Awesome. We will talk to you. I think I'm not sure about Saturday, but if we don't get it done Saturday, we'll do it next Saturday, because I hear there's somebody kind of moving up in the world, but somebody's kind of moving in the world. Congratulations.
Nicole, busy. Who knew?
Yeah, congratulations. We want to make sure that we have the audience notified too. So we'll talk with the group and see what the group comes up with. But again, thank you for joining us, and you are a light of your ray of sunshine, Nicole. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you both, and so happy 4th of July. This is one of my favorite American holiday, and I wish every and each American citizen remember freedom is not free, and 4th of July is not about barbecue. It's about remembering all the great sacrifices of the people who have fought for this country's freedom. And it's not the end of it. It's just the beginning, because we're losing this freedom to CCP. And that's why I want to, wish everyone a very happy 4th of July. And we'll see you next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wayne Dupree, Jason Robinson, Nicole Sy here on the Wayne Dupree podcast on Red Voice Media Network. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have more.
Biden and his cronies have lost over $3 trillion of America's retirement savings in 2022 alone. With inflation running rampant and the stock market crashing, do you have a plan to protect your wealth? Our friends at American Alternative Assets help you protect your retirement savings by rolling over your IRA or 401k into a gold IRA. Fact is, you can hold physical gold and silver in your retirement account while maintaining its tax-deferred status. Visit protectfrombiden.com today to get your free wealth protection guide. This guide will give you all the answers you need. American Alternative Assets is an A+ and accredited member of the Better Business Bureau. Protect your savings now before it's too late. Visit protectfrombiden.com. Individual results may vary. There is no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future results. It's a crazy world out there, and we're facing more uncertainty than our country has faced in a long time, if ever. And the most important advice that we can give you and your loved ones is be prepared. Most people don't realize they need something until it's too late, whether it's a natural disaster, a sustained power outage, political upheaval, or God forbid, war. You need to be prepared. Don't put yourself in that situation. Have food and water on hand to provide for you and your loved ones during the worst of times, and then pray you never need it. Thankfully, we have just the solution for you. Heaven's Harvest has everything you need to prepare for the unexpected. You get prepared, and you support a pro-America Christian company that shares your values at the same time. Everyone wins. And the best news is you also get discounts on emergency survival foods, heirloom vegetable seed kits, water filtration and storage kits, and loads of other survival resources, such as guides on how to grow and preserve your foods. So get ahead, be prepared, and survive with a company that shares your values. And we have you covered with great discounts. Go to heavensharvest.com and use promo code RVM to save 10%. Again, that's heavensharvest.com and use promo code RVM to save 10% on your order.
Yo,
What's going on?
did you say this weekend is 4th of July weekend?
Well, so this is one of those weird ones. 4th of July is Tuesday. So some people will treat this weekend as 4th of July weekend, and some will treat it as next weekend as 4th of July weekend.
So 2 weekends.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, the old Tuesday, 4th of July makes it kind of wild.
When is the holiday?
It's on Tuesday.
So banks are closed on Tuesday
I would guess so, yeah.
and not Monday. Okay.
Yeah. Although, who knows? It's a federal government. They might just make it a long weekend and just say we're
I know.
closed
Yeah.
Monday and Tuesday.
Mm.
Yeah, that's funny. That's why I had to hop off earlier. I was getting a delivery and it was supposed to be later this afternoon. And I'm like, crap, if I don't grab it, I don't know if I'll see it, until, because it'll go back and then I won't.
Don't you hate those that put the note on your door? You don't hear them knocking. You don't hear them press
Right.
any bell. But the note comes, we were here and you weren't here, and call us to return. Or I was like, wait a minute. Y'all never showed up. I was here the whole time.
Well, and some of these deliveries are stupid. So we have a paver patio in our backyard that I
Mhm.
need to try to clear out the weeds and junk in between. And I saw this tool on Amazon that you can get that'll help you clear it out. I'm like, that looks awesome. So I'm going to order that and try to clear it out and seal it back in or whatnot. And then it was like $30, like nothing expensive. And then I get the shipping notification. They send it shipping, like signature verification required. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, of all the stupid stuff to require a signature.
Man. So we were talking about the Supreme Court decision.
Affirmative action.
The CPAC situation has got me in a bind too, because them holding that back, that's major. Whether people want to believe it or not, because right now it's not even on the story, but that's major because he could die at any moment while you sleep. That's major. Okay. That should be one of those. Okay. Well. Should it be a disqualification if you have sleep apnea to be president of the United States?
See, my take on it is
Think
this.
about
I
it.
think
Think about it.
millions of
You could
people
die-
have sleep.
You could die at any moment.
Yeah, I have sleep apnea.
Yeah, me
I have
too.
a CPAP machine. Yeah. I quit using
I got one. Me too. Me too. I don't use it.
like I had a hard time sleeping with it. I think the bigger story to me, you get this Darth Vader mask on. You get hosed, the dogs are freaked out, you can't roll over.
Get roll over, yeah.
Like if you could lay there with the mask on, like you get really good sleep, but like good luck. Good luck. And Cleo would just chew it off your face, Wayne. So you can't even imagine. Imagine using it. But no, so my opinion, I think sleep apnea, here's the troubling thing. This guy ran to be president saying he would be so open and so honest and all that stuff. And where he served vice president for how many years? He's been president for 2.5, 3 years. He's coming up on. And why is this just getting disclosed now? You know, I mean, that's like, I'm diabetic. If I were running for president, like I would disclose that, you know, but he's not taking cognitive tests. He's not taking, you know, the medical releases he's had, because he releases his physicals and stuff. Like nothing's on there about that.
Right.
And I think this is where you feed conspiracy theories, because if this is the only medical condition that Joe Biden has that he hasn't told us about, okay, fine. But then you wonder, something so stupid as that millions of Americans have, why didn't you tell us that? And what else aren't you telling us?
Right.
And that's where I get concerned.
But I mean, for me, I still believe that it's a disqualifier, because you could die at any, well, actually you can die at any moment with anything. But with that though, and ladies and gentlemen, if you really don't know what sleep apnea is, it's crazy way. I mean, and it's not just for obese people. It's not. I saw somebody online, they said he's not even fat, he shouldn't be having it. No, I mean, I've seen, well, not thin, but I've seen regular sized people have sleep apnea. I mean,
I'm pretty regular size. And for those who don't know, sleep apnea is basically when you sleep, your air system, like your whatever it's called, like collapses. And then that's what causes snoring, is the thinning of that. And you actually, with sleep apnea, like your body jerks awake periodically throughout the night because you're kind of suffocating is what's happening. And there's different degrees of sleep apnea. I have a very mild case. That's why I snore. So your CPAP regulates the pressure so that it keeps your airways open, and then you don't have that. If you have severe sleep apnea, it can be life-threatening, because you are basically going through these choking phases throughout the night. But like I say, if he's not telling us something like that, like if you have a mild case of sleep apnea,
well, he weren't it, so it has to be heavy.
Here was the other thing too that I was trying to figure out, and I might need to crowdsource this. So how this story came out is there was a picture of Joe Biden, and he had the sleep apnea, like you wear this little like head thing with straps on it, and people were joking that they thought he was doing some BDSM stuff with the ball gag.
I saw that.
And then that's what caused them to reply that no, that was his mask from his CPAP. But that picture of Joe Biden, I can't figure out what time that picture was first taken, because I'm like, I thought it was at like 10 o'clock. And like, what the heck is the guy still doing with his CPAP straps on?
Yeah.
At 10 o'clock.
I was like, that thing must have been on super extra tight for it to last for like a few hours in the morning. I was like, dang.
I've wore those, and like, you're talking a half hour maybe till your skin right.
Yeah, so I was like, wow. But no,
actually, Charlene hit the nail on the head here. Biden's doctor should be put under oath and made to testify about his health and mental condition. Charlene,
another thing that Republicans should do is bring the doctors in front of so they can ask questions. But let me tell you something. That's sleep. I mean, now I know the reason why I don't wear the machine. Well, I haven't worn it for years. Is because I didn't want my kid and the babies. You know how kids, when they're young and they walk into your room while you sleep. Daddy, wake up. I didn't want them to walk in and see me laying on my back looking like, kind of like
Daddy's dying.
But the first time that I really was affected, ladies and gentlemen, as a person with sleep apnea, I woke up one morning, I couldn't breathe. And I was trying to catch my breath laying down on the side, and I was like, wait a minute, this ain't happening. And it felt like it was getting worse. So I sat up on the edge of the bed. I was like, okay. In my mind, I'm like, okay, it's going to get better. But it wasn't getting any better. I was like, and Jay, I promise you, I said to myself, oh, well, this is it. It's like, this is
All the
it.
ways I envisioned going. This
I was
it.
like, I'm out. But I calmed down, and then everything got back on track. I was like, oh, okay, all right. But I've only had, as long as I've had the sleep, I've only had that happen to me, I think, 3 times in about, well, the girls will be 20 next month. So I've only had about 3 times in about 20 years. But when you are asleep, it sounds like if you're living with somebody with sleep apnea, and most of you know this, it sounds like they're dying in their sleep because you hear, sort of like that. And then you don't hear nothing. You don't hear a thing.
The airway opens back up and you're back to normal.
If your spouse is living with you, they need a Medal of Honor because they don't know what is going on with you at that time. So, I kind of take it easy these days. I sort of
my wife tells me to roll over on my right side because then I don't snore as bad. My apnea is not as bad. So
yeah.
When I roll onto my back and start laying there snoring, she either grabs the earplugs or gives me the elbow. I got the best wife.
Laying on the back is the worst, though. It's like, it's like, you get one of those sleep number beds where you sit up, and that helps.
Right.
So, yeah.
No. I got the My Pillow bed. I got to tell you what, you get that My Pillow bed with the memory foam, promo code Wayne at mypillow.com.
I got that. I got the memory foam. Sometimes
I actually have the mattress with the topper. It's pretty spectacular. So
yeah, I can't get out of it.
Right.
Because I sink so deep in it. Sometimes I'm like, I forget it. I just can't move. I'm so sunk in. So yeah. But no, I still think that it's a more important thing because the first thing I thought about when I heard about it, I was like, oh, that's how they're gonna get them.
Well, it's important enough that we should have known. Like, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And if you say, hey, he's got this, he's wearing a CPAP machine, like, that's okay. But especially with his age, and not that we should treat people different by age, but age, like, dude's old.
Right.
Like,
He's old.
Dude is old.
And his body, look, his body isn't full of strength these days. You know that. I mean, when you're younger, you have a little bit more strength. You wake up, sit on the side of the bed. When you're you aren't as strong as what you were when you're younger. And dude's gonna be pushing 81 real soon, I think. So
yep.
Come on, y'all. I mean, he's done, he's over. Stick a fork in him.
Well, I gotta say, I called it earlier this week. I was looking at things. I'm thinking Thanksgiving. That's when he's that's when he's out.
Debbie
so I will put it as a prediction. By Thanksgiving, Joe Biden will either be out of office or announced he's not running. They'll come up with some reason for it, a health thing, or he wants to spend more time with, like, I'm going to die soon, so I want to spend time with my grandkids. But he will be, I think, I just see too much mainstream media that are starting to report on the nonsense of Joe Biden. And I'm like, somebody hit the switch and said, go ahead and start talking about this. Because even like the whistleblower stuff that Nicole was talking about, the China stuff, which is fascinating because they don't drill home that, like, Communist China, Party of China is doing it. But like, that laptop stuff's been out for 4 or 5 years and ain't nobody talked about it. So
they're waiting until October, man. October is still the statute of limitations on something.
Right.
Andrew McCarthy was talking about statute of limitation. Oh man. What do you
got going on for the weekend, Wayne? You're gonna pound through season 8, 9, 10 of Swamp People?
I'm on season 4 and I fell asleep, so I have to start season 4 again. Liz looked like she got rid of her
she switches out like three hunting partners.
I like the first one though.
Yeah, first one was the best.
Trista, I think her name was. I can't remember her name, but I liked her. I had to go. You know, sometimes when you're watching these things, you have to go look up the people online to see who they are and stuff. I'm like, damn, she married. But yeah, and Troy got rid of his dude again to bring another son.
Oh no, that he voluntarily left. He opened a turtle farm.
The first time.
Right. No, he went back to that. He came back for a season and then he left to go he's like has his turtle farm. He gives little tours. Yeah. We should do a Wayne Dupree show on location and we should travel down there.
I'm not going down the swamp though. I mean, I go down there.
Why aren't you going on the swamp?
I ain't going on the swamp.
Oh,
I'm going on the swamp. Those alligators too big and too smart. Look, and I know that just from watching. They are smart.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they might have a little pea brain, but they are smart as the dickens.
Right.
I mean, they know how to act dead. They know when the water hits a certain temperature, they got a jet. They know when all those fishes are dead. They just go and eat. You don't catch alligators when the harvest is ripe. But no, right. And then I found out that one of the brothers died.
I didn't want to tell you. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, that is.
That's why you don't Google it. Just watch it.
Yeah, that's why I have to go back to the beginning of season 4 because when I woke up, the one brother was by himself. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, it must have happened in this season right here. So I have to go and check it. I didn't read why, so yeah,
we won't spoil it. Nobody in the comments.
Yeah,
see, it's funny because this weekend with the long 4th of July weekend, I'm trying, and I mentioned it yesterday. I'm trying to figure out like what news they're gonna drop to like distract everybody. Because
I bet you got to be about Russia though.
I'm thinking it's got to be something in Russia, Ukraine, something with nukes, or Russia attacks a nuclear power plant or something like that. Because people are picking up steam. Like they dropped that Jack Smith stuff, like just in time to distract everybody from what was going on. Like the Russian coup thing, I think was legit. I think it was kind of overstated how it was reported, but I can't even figure out like what the real story is there either. Sounds like a bunch of top military people are suddenly coming up dead in Russia. Surprising. So
yeah, but you know what though? If I were leader of Russia and you gonna bring 25,000 to my doorstep, I gotta kill you.
Right.
I got to. I mean, okay, fine. Yeah. Exile. Yes. Exile. Go to Belarus. Okay. Whatever.
Right.
Follow him. Make sure he doesn't get there. You know what I'm saying? Make sure he don't get there. Follow him. I look, when he's in the McDonald's parking lot, boom, boom, right in the back of the head. He's out. Because you never know if he could do it again or who he's influencing to do it again. As a matter of fact, I'll take him out. I would do one of Hutch's things. I would take him out and about 5 or 6 generals or people behind him. I would clear the field and say, okay, now, hey, junior cadet, you're in charge. Don't mess up.
Well, and I think that hit the nail on the head where I think you're going to see a big change over in the brass and they're going to be like, yeah, this ain't going to happen again. You know, kind of a dovetail too. I wanted to get your perspective on. People were bringing it up in the chat. What's your take on the student loan things? Like we haven't talked about it on the show since I've been a co-host.
Yeah, and because you know why? Because I've been waiting to see what comes down because the ruler hadn't come down from.
I think it's due this week.
Right. The Supreme Court. Well, actually, I thought they kicked it back. They're going to come down with a ruling.
I think it was on the docket to be ruled on this week. They're trying to determine if Joe Biden's use of emergency powers during COVID let him.
He can't do it. Yeah.
But overall, what's your take on the federal government for giving student loans?
Come on now. I mean, I might be in the middle on like one or two things, but I mean, if you decide you want to go to school and you want to put out a loan for it and whatnot, that's your responsibility. You have decided that that's what you want to do. You don't seriously, you don't have to go to school. You can go to a trade school. You can go to OJT. You can go to the military if you want to. But and believe me, I'm not kicking you if you want to go to school. If you want to go to school, go to school. But no, there's responsibilities that come with it. And one of them is if you have to take out a loan for it, and believe me, a whole lot of people have to, you're going to have to pay it back. Because, Jay, you can't clear numbers at a level. You can't have a level and then everybody above here you clear, because these people are going to revolt sooner or later. Wait a minute, hold on. I paid 80. Last year I just cleared my bank account, and now all of a sudden, this to me, look, either it's not fair, and that's why I was raised the way I was raised. I believe in fairness. God gave me, yes, I have a stepson, but I also have two daughters, bookends. I've always been one. I have Hutch. I have JR. I've always been one to be even on those types of things. And I like to be fair. I like to be level. And that's another reason why I also think that we should be talking to Democrat voters as brothers and sisters. Now, leaders are the ones that get us in trouble. But Democrat voters, most of them aren't as radical as the leaders are.
Right.
Now, and I'm sure that they believe in the same way. Look, just leave me alone. Just let me smoke my marijuana in my own house, and just leave me alone. Just like we're like, hey, we just want to have our barbecue in our own yard. Leave us alone.
Right.
That's what America is. Let us be us. We don't need the government.
Funny. Because with the student loans, like this is a personal one for me because I grew up poor and I didn't qualify for much free money other than some scholarships because I got good grades. And I had to face a choice. Do I go to my local community college, which was like $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000 a year, whatever it was, or do I go to the University of Minnesota, which at the time was like $15,000, $20,000 a year, or do I go, like I actually had the grades and the test scores to go to like a good school, like a really good school. And I'm like, it became a formula where I'm like, I ended up going to my local community college, Rochester Community College in Rochester, Minnesota. It's now called like RCTC or something. And I did that because I'm like, well, I don't want to take on 50 grand in debt or 100 grand in debt or that kind of thing. But what's interesting that we never talk about is why don't we go back to these schools for that money? Because if they're charging, like everybody wants the government to bail it out, which is just caustic. But if these schools are charging you such high rates that you can't recoup that when you go out into the workforce
every year.
Right. Then why don't we go back and claw back some of that money in their endowments or that kind of thing? Because if you go to an expensive school and you drop $200,000 to get your degree and you can't do anything with that degree, I think the school should be held accountable instead of the taxpayers. And it's interesting because that never gets brought up.
But you know what? Another thing that doesn't get brought up too, you couldn't afford a major. Oh, yeah. You couldn't afford a major university. I couldn't afford a major university, but then you want us to pay for people that won't have to pay their bills that go to American University. That doesn't make sense.
Nope.
That doesn't make sense to me,
Oh, that's funny. So 4th of July weekend, Terry was in the chat saying stay away from politics. So just so you know, Terry, actually from Friday through Sunday, I pretty much always try to unplug. I just follow stuff tangentially. I do online work. So we try to hang out with the fam. Although it's weird this year with where it falls, like trying to figure out where to go for 4th of July, like where the barbecue is. Or
I'm getting a new grill.
Oh, are you? What kind?
It's a Cuisinart 360 XL surround griddle.
Really?
Yeah, I have two coal gravity coal grills. I use one for smoking, one for grilling. But this one is going to be the griddle because it has the one large griddle top, and then it has like a grease tray that is right underneath. I'll
Oh,
send you
man.
I'll send you a picture. It's like maybe $450. You
Oh,
can get it. You can get it on Amazon, but it's going to cut down on cooking inside the house because you got a little gas thing, propane tank that it goes on. So, I mean, you cook breakfast on it, lunch and dinner. So,
oh, man.
yep.
Yeah,
It's
you
nice.
like that. You do that, all that cooking outside. I got to
Most
switch
of
over
it.
to that.
Last night I did those prep meals for the
Yeah.
kids. They like that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they really like that. And plus, I figured, I was like, well, this will be so that I won't have to cook all the time and it's already done for the week. And I prepared 2 meals and put them in the prep containers. Y'all go at it. So
That's spectacular. I'm going to give a shout out to my wife. So one of the things we always do, like Friday
yes,
night,
you
we kinda
better.
go. Well, yeah, Friday night we go grocery shopping, and she makes a list, and she makes the week's menu, and then we try to coordinate. Like, we're cooking this on Monday, and then we'll have these leftovers on Tuesday to take to lunch. So kind of the pre-made meal stuff. Or like you make something, and then you make chicken, and then you can make it into a chicken quesadilla tomorrow. And oh yeah. When you start oh, Mr. Savoy eyeballing the Blackstone griddle. Wayne, when's the cookbook coming out? Like, people are
Yeah,
clamoring
see, you
for it.
know what? I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it. I am. I mean, it's the thing is, like, you sit down and you look at ingredient. See, a lot of these things, and that's why I figure I have to do the show instead of the book, because the show is, I really don't know the
You don't have a recipe.
measurements.
Right.
I have the recipe. I mean, I had a recipe. I just don't have the measurements. So, it's
I don't know.
like,
Your cooking strikes me like, I'm going to put some cream in here. I'm going to put some spices. Like, you're going to make like this exact recipe. Yeah. Good luck on that.
well, I mean, believe me, my kids have, they've allowed me to be their test kitchen on many stuff. And it's like, they grew up basically with a chef in the house. So,
Oh yeah.
This is the Cuisinart.
Ooh. Yeah, last night you sent those pictures of that salmon. I'm like, oh my God. I wish I lived closer to the Wayne Dupree house. I'd be driving over.
Yeah, that let's see if I have a.
Oh my God. Debbie in the chat said she's got to be careful cooking out because of bears.
Bears?
That's insane.
Let me get these real quick. What do you have coming up this weekend?
Oh, well, we should wrap up and get ready to get out of here. First of all, folks, thanks for tuning in this week. It's been a great week. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Like we always say, big thing you can do, like, comment, share, and to give a shout out to our family over at Red Voice Media. Really feel proud to be a part of what you guys are building. Sounds like Matt Couch is starting to heal up, so hopefully he'll be back on the air, taking over his time slot. Oh, look at that. Giddy up.
Made that last night too.
And then, oh, that looks good. And then really for the weekend going into next week, 4th of July is really a pretty powerful holiday, I think. And, it's about celebrating our freedom as Americans, and make sure you take time to both understand the significance of the holiday and spend time with those you love. So it's a great weekend. It's in summer. Weather's usually good. Oh, there it is.
There it is. Yeah,
Carry that on your weekend.
that is creamy Tuscan salmon, and
wow,
all the way down to the roasted tomatoes, and spinach, and it was really easy to do. Oh my God, it was so easy to do. So,
all right, I need to go get lunch now.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching the Rain Dupree podcast. We're here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 12 to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the Red Voice Media Network. Make sure that you follow them, redvoicemedia.com, and share what they do. Go to and click on the premium, like JR said. Click on the premium and look at a whole brand new list of conservative voices, to hang
People you
in
need to
there.
hear.
Exactly. All right. With that said,
Have a great
I
weekend.
bid you, you know what? That takes me back to those those brothers on Swamp People.
Glenn and Mitchell.
Yeah. France Fru or Polyvon whatever the French
Sacre bleu. Watch Swamp People, everybody. You'll get the jokes. It's really good. It's on YouTube.